In the bustling city of Tulsa, Oklahoma, lies a curious spot. It is not marked by grand monuments. No towering statues announce its presence. Instead, it is a simple circle of bricks. This circle is set within a larger, worn concrete plaza. Many people walk by it every day. They might not even notice it is there. It seems ordinary. Just another part of the urban landscape, a place for hurried footsteps and passing conversations, nothing more. Yet this unassuming circle holds a secret, a peculiar acoustic mystery waiting to be found by those who pause. This place is known locally as the center of the universe, a rather grand name for such a modest feature. It sits quietly, nestled near the old Union Depot. Trains once rumbled past, carrying people and dreams. Now the area has a different kind of energy. The circle itself is small. You could easily step over it without a second thought. There are no signs explaining its unique properties. Its magic is hidden in plain sight. It waits patiently for discovery. It challenges our understanding of sound. Imagine a point on the ground, a point like any other, but if you stand right in its center, something changes. The world around you sounds different. Your own voice transforms. This is the essence of the Tulsa Circle. It is an acoustic anomaly, a place where the normal rules of sound seem to bend, or perhaps they reveal a deeper truth about how sound waves travel, how they interact with the structures we build, how they can surprise us. At first glance, nothing suggests the strange effects that occur here. The surrounding buildings are typical of a city. The ground is flat, there are no obvious curved walls, no amphitheater-like structures to explain what happens. This makes the mystery even more compelling. It is a natural, or perhaps accidental, phenomenon. It invites curiosity. It beckons us to question the ordinary, to look closer at the world we think we know so well. It reminds us that wonders can be found in the most unexpected places. Emma Greene was a physicist. She loved mysteries, especially those that science might explain. She had heard whispers of Tulsa's strange circle, stories of an echo that defied logic. So she traveled to Oklahoma. She wanted to experience it herself. She arrived on a bright, clear afternoon. The sun warmed the concrete. The city bustled around her. She found the spot easily enough. It looked just as unremarkable as described. A simple circle of bricks, nothing more. She stepped into the center of the circle. She felt a little self-conscious. She spoke a few tentative words. "Hello," she said, her voice quiet. And then it happened. The sound that came back was not a normal echo. It was distorted, amplified. It seemed to surround her, but only her. Someone standing just a few feet away would hear nothing unusual. Emma gasped. Her own voice sounded loud and strange, directly back at her. It was an intensely personal echo. Emma took a step out of the circle. She spoke again. Her voice was normal. The echo was gone. She stepped back in. The strange, focused echo returned. It was immediate, precise. She experimented. A clap of her hands, a quiet whisper. Each sound she made was returned to her with this peculiar, magnified quality. It was as if she was in a tiny, invisible sound booth, a booth that only existed when she stood on that exact spot. She felt a thrill of discovery. This was not like any echo she knew. It did not bounce off distant walls. It felt contained, intimate. The sounds from outside the circle seemed muted, distant, while her own sounds were amplified just for her. Emma knew this was something special. This was more than just a local curiosity. It was a genuine scientific puzzle, a delightful anomaly. Her mind raced with possibilities. What forces were at play here? What created this personal sound chamber in the open air? Her investigation had truly begun. The people of Tulsa had known about the circle for years, long before scientists like Emma took an interest. They had their own stories, their own explanations. Some said it was a mystical place, a vortex of energy. Others believed it was a spot where the veil between worlds was thin. They whispered tales of strange feelings, of a sense of being watched, or of hearing things that weren't quite there. These stories added to the circle's mystique. They turned a physical anomaly into something more. One popular legend spoke of an ancient meeting place. Native American tribes, it was said, used this very spot for important ceremonies. The acoustics, they believed, carried the speaker's voice with power. It made their words resonate with spiritual significance. Another tale suggested a tragic event, a heartbroken lover whose sorrowful cries became embedded in the very fabric of the place. These cries, some believed, were what you heard echoing back. These were stories born from human imagination, from our need to find meaning in the unusual. Other theories were more down to earth, yet still tinged with wonder. Some thought it was a forgotten architectural feature, perhaps part of an old building, a remnant whose purpose was lost to time, but whose acoustic properties remained. Maybe a circular wall once stood there, creating the effect, and when the wall was gone, the echo mysteriously stayed. This idea appealed to those who sought a rational yet still fascinating explanation for the strange sounds they experienced. Emma listened to these local tales with interest. She knew that folklore often contained grains of truth, or at least it reflected the human response to something unexplainable. The stories painted a rich picture. They showed how this simple brick circle had captured the imagination of a community, how it had become more than just a point on a map. It was a landmark of mystery, a place where everyday reality seemed to warp just a little, a place that sparked wonder and endless speculation. Section 4. As scientists' scrutiny, Emma deciphers the sound. Emma Greene, however, was driven by the scientific method. While she appreciated the local legends, her goal was to understand the physics. She returned to the circle armed with equipment, microphones, sound level meters, a laptop to analyze the data. She wanted to measure the phenomenon, to map its characteristics, to find a logical explanation for this bizarre echo. She began her experiments with careful precision. She was a detective of sound waves. She hypothesized that the effect was likely due to reflection. Sound waves, like light waves, can bounce off surfaces. Perhaps the low circular stone planters nearby played a role. Or maybe even the specific curvature of the surrounding retaining walls, even if they seemed too far away. She considered the possibility of a parabolic reflector, a shape that focuses waves to a single point. Could the circle itself and its immediate surroundings accidentally form such a shape? It was a compelling idea to explore. Emma spent hours at the circle. She recorded sounds made at different pitches and volumes. She noted how the echo changed, or how it stayed uncannily consistent. She moved her microphones around, trying to find the source of the reflection or the focal point of the sound. The data she collected was intriguing. The echo was indeed highly localized. It decayed rapidly outside the small central zone. This suggested a very precise geometric configuration was responsible. She also investigated the materials, the bricks of the circle, the concrete of the plaza, the stone of the planters. Each material absorbs and reflects sound differently. Could the combination of these materials contribute to the unique effect? It was a complex puzzle. Many variables were at play. Emma knew that sometimes the most amazing phenomena arise from simple principles, combined in just the right way. She was determined to uncover the underlying physics, to peel back the layers of mystery with data and reason. Section 5. The unforeseen chorus echoes beyond expectation. One late afternoon, as the sun began to set, Emma's investigation took a dramatic turn. The city's sounds were quieting down. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves of nearby trees. She was in the center of the circle, making routine sound recordings. She spoke a test phrase. Testing, 1, 2, 3. The usual distorted echo returned, but then something else happened. Something entirely unexpected. Something that made the hairs on her arms stand on end. It was a sound that was not her own. Faintly, underneath her own amplified echo, she heard other sounds, whispers, fragments of conversations, a snatch of distant laughter. These were not clear. They were like auditory ghosts, barely perceptible. At first, she thought it was her imagination, or perhaps sounds carried on the wind from passers-by. But she was alone. The plaza was mostly empty, and these sounds seemed to emanate from the circle itself, just like her own echo. They had that same peculiar, contained quality. Emma held her breath. She listened intently. The faint phantom sounds continued. They were fleeting, elusive, like trying to catch smoke. She tried to record them, but they were too subtle for her equipment to isolate clearly from the ambient noise. Yet, to her ears, they were undeniably there. This was beyond a simple acoustic reflection. This was something far stranger, something that science, as she currently understood it, struggled to explain easily. Her heart pounded with a mixture of excitement and unease. Were these real sounds from the past, or was the circle playing tricks on her perception? The local legends of voices and presences suddenly felt less like folklore and more like observations of a deeper phenomenon. Emma had come to debunk or explain, but now she found herself facing a mystery that deepened with every passing moment. The circle was not just an echo chamber. It seemed to be something more, something that hinted at a connection beyond the immediate present, a repository of unseen, unheard moments. Section 6, The Circle's Revelation, an archive of sound and soul. Emma sat on the edge of the circle as darkness fell. The city lights began to twinkle. Her scientific mind wrestled with what she had experienced. The phantom voices, the fleeting auditory glimpses, a new idea began to form. A bold, almost fantastical hypothesis. What if the circle was not just reflecting sound in the present? What if somehow it was capturing and replaying fragments of sounds from its past, like an archive, a library of echoes? She considered the physics of sound, vibrations in the air, energy that dissipates. But what if certain materials, under specific conditions, could somehow store this energy, or a resonant imprint of it? Perhaps the unique combination of the bricks, the concrete, and the surrounding structures created a kind of natural recording medium, one that held onto faint traces of the countless sounds that had passed through it over the decades, the shouts of children, the arguments of strangers, the quiet hopes whispered in its center. This led Emma to think about consciousness, about memory. Our brains store experiences, our voices carry our thoughts, our emotions. If the circle could hold on to sound, could it in some way hold on to a fragment of the consciousness that produced that sound? It was a profound thought, one that bridged the gap between hard science and the more philosophical questions of existence. The circle, then, was more than an acoustic anomaly. It was a place where the past lingered, where human presence left an ethereal trace. Emma realized that some mysteries might not have simple explanations, or at least explanations that fit neatly into current scientific paradigms. The circle was a reminder that the universe is full of wonders. Some we can measure and understand, others we can only experience and ponder. The circle was an archive not just of sound, but of moments, a testament to all the lives that had brushed against this small patch of ground in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was a humbling realization for a scientist. Section 7, The Lingering Mystery, Tulsa's Enduring Enigma. Emma Greene eventually published her findings. She detailed the acoustic properties of the circle. She explained the probable science behind the primary echo effect, the reflection from the curved planters, the focusing of sound waves. But when it came to the faint, unexplained voices, she could only offer speculation, hypotheses that ventured into the very edge of known physics, and perhaps a little beyond it. The circle retained a core of its mystery, a stubborn refusal to be fully understood. Today, the center of the universe continues to fascinate. People still visit, they stand in the center, they marvel at the way their voice changes. Some hear only their own distorted echo. Others claim to hear more. Whispers from an unknown source. Fleeting sounds that vanish before they can be identified. The circle remains a place of personal experience. Its true nature perhaps revealed differently to each person who pauses to listen. It challenges perception, it invites introspection. The intersection of science and the unexplainable is a fertile ground for human curiosity. We strive to understand, to categorize, to explain. Yet there are phenomena that resist easy answers. The Tulsa Circle is one such place. It reminds us that not every question has an immediate answer, not every mystery can be neatly solved, and perhaps that is part of its enduring appeal. It allows for wonder. It encourages us to keep asking questions. The enigma of Tulsa's circle continues. Is it merely a clever trick of acoustics, an accidental architectural marvel? Or is it something more, a place where the echoes of time itself can be faintly heard? The debate goes on, the speculation thrives, and the circle sits quietly in the heart of the city, a silent guardian of its secrets. It offers a unique experience, a chance to hear the world and perhaps ourselves in a way we never expected. The mystery endures, waiting.